Previously on Trail Trash Garage.
So, yeah, Gullwing G1100, the 82 is gone. That's the full dresser. So we said goodbye to that Friday last week, and hopefully it went to a new home because we are now saying hi to this. You know we're in Canada because
A boot. Not a boot. Sorry.
this. So this is a 1995 VF1000F Interceptor. So this is the bike that came out in 84, 85. Oh, I didn't say 95, did I? It was an 85. 84, 85. I think they might have survived to 86. I'm not sure. They were only out for a couple of years, and the precursor to the VFR. These motors in different states of tune and slightly different variances showed up in the V Magna, V45, V65 Magnas, and V45, V65 Sabres, also of the mid 80s. The engine did survive a little longer than that. It went through a couple of redesigns, and it survived in the Magna a little bit longer. And I think in the VFR, it was changed quite a bit in the VFR, but don't quote me on that. I'm not an expert on these bikes by any means. I certainly know a lot less about these than I do the Gullwings. But this bike was on my wall as a kid. It was one of the first bikes I saw in a Honda sale in a Honda showroom when my dad took me to a Honda dealer, and obviously I guess 1985. And yeah. Now, I may have swung by it a couple times here, but one of the reasons I swapped the Gullwing for this is because I got two of them. One has a bad motor, so if I get a video up, maybe up here, I'll link it, or I don't know, maybe I'll just tack it on this video. That has bad rod knock, and well, it's bad. So I got monkeying with it, and just to see, and well, I may have put a rod out through the side of the case. Anyway, that motor is going to be for parts, which is good. We may need spare heads and stuff. These did have the infamous chocolate cam issue. The cams and the followers were a little soft on some years of these engines. So that'll give me a second set of heads in case these heads aren't any good. So this is technically the part bike, and I don't have a title for this frame, so we're using this frame. The previous owner did the carbs on this one. These carbs are in bad shape. When I say bad, I just mean they need a rebuild. So I think what I'll do is we'll convert the carbs over. That'll probably be the first film project I do, is moving the carbs over or sorting this out. So both bikes have got bad starter switches. So I have just a generic Amazon special switch gear here that's got the starter. So we'll try to rewire this and just put this in for a short term. I'll see if I can't source an original. You know, obviously I like the originals better, but whatever. But it looks like there's actually less wear and tear on this bike. It may have spent more time in being stored than ridden. So we'll see. It's got this funky oil pressure thing going on here, which gives us basically an oil pressure switch or gauge. So this one looks like maybe it was stored a lot longer, so maybe it hasn't seen as many miles. I mean, there's some corrosion on it, but it's not. It looks like it's more sitting in a barn corrosion. But we'll have to go through. We'll go through them very carefully and see, you know, what's what. We'll take the best parts. This tank's got some rash on it. This bike was laid over. which actually might have been on that bike, because that bike looks like the fairing stay was laid over. That or this bike was the one that was crashed, and at some point some parts from that bike made it to this bike and the leftover parts went there. But I don't know, it just seems like where the way this stuff's all snapped in, that fairing stay was actually on that bike, and that's the one that's crooked. So I'm hoping that this was taken off the road because it got crashed and not because it had an engine issue, because this one's got the engine issue. And so I don't really want to do an engine rebuild, but if we do, we do. We'll pick one of the engines, obviously that one, because that's the cases are all in one piece, thanks to me. No thanks to me. And we'll do this one. So this has got pretty good, like, it doesn't have any corrosion on the forks there at all. This has got a little bit of that rust from sitting in a barn that kills fork tubes. So we may end up doing a complete front end switch from this to this, taking those forks and everything out. Definitely we got brake issues on this one. There's lots of meat on the pads, and the calipers don't look like used very much, but the fluid is all out of it. This window actually has a crack, so obviously there's no fluid left in that. So we'll definitely be swapping out the best calipers. So probably the brakes off this work, so probably we're taking that off this one, and just other stuff like there's a crack here and that. I don't think we've got a crack here. That one looks like it's cracked too. So, but anyway, that may be the next project that we do. Wouldn't mind getting one of these bikes on the road just for fun. I've always wanted to ride one, and I've never ridden one. So definitely want to get that. And then obviously the next project after that is this. So I've got a plan, I got a direction, I got a way I want this to come out, and I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be the first time I've really tackled an exhaust on my own. So I'm looking forward to getting into it, which is why we may end up going with that project next, and maybe just shelving the... Maybe we'll do a little bit to get this going, but we won't do the whole thing. I don't know. But the elephant in the room, literally, is that sucker. That's my new air compressor. She's old. It's seen around. But it's 220, which is what the holdup is. I've got to get this whole back into the garage rearranged so that this can go in there, replace the old air compressor in the back that died, and then this new old compressor that's not really adequate for what I need. Well, once we get this in place, we'll sell that, make up the cost of this, because it won't take much, because I got this for, that's right, 50 bucks. 50 bucks. So I'm told it works. The tank is full, no issues with the tank. But of course, I won't know till we get the 220 hooked up and get this bad boy plugged in. So, yeah, I'm really excited, because this should run, this sucker should run all of my stuff. And maybe I can start getting a few more air tools, some die grinders and things like that, sanders. This thing should run her. But the pump is, well, seems to work, seems to run free. She's a big beefy sucker. So as soon as we get our 220 plug out here, which should be sometime later in this week, I'll have that air compressor up and running. So, oh, I'm so excited. Plus, I'll get my bike lift back. And we got to get some of these projects cleaned up. So, next project, is it going to be the Interceptor? Is it going to be the KZ440? I don't know yet, but it'll be one of them. and I'll bring you guys along for the ride if you guys are still interested in watching this stuff. For Jeff, Trail Trash Garage, I'll catch you in the next video. You know we're in Canada because...
A boot! That's a boot! Sorry.